Because I can't be real with you. Me, I'm dyslexic, right? And I mentioned to you many a time. And it makes sense to people when they see my spelling errors online all the time. But I'm saying I never knew about my dyslexia until after I graduated and after I finished university. Do you understand?
It's a limiting belief.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now then when that hit me, I was like, bro, man's dyslexic. But I read the whole dictionary. I read Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes, like the original fat book. Do you understand? And now, bro, I bang out a book a week. I read in Arabic and English. Point being,
there's a theory that mental health, the reason why it's spiking, is more people are
attributing themselves to it.
Because they're hearing about it.
Because they're hearing about it.
That's me.
It's called the self-fulfilling prophecy. We studied this in sociology school. And then here's the beautiful thing. Not beautiful. Here's the crazy thing, the shocking thing. I remember, when I look back at the kids who used to be the dyslexic kids in school, I don't mean this with any disrespect, wallahi, no disrespect. But it's like, they were always the kids that you'd think like they had like special needs or something. If I knew, my teachers would have put me in that class. How do you think I would have come out? But in your GCSEs, you wouldn't have even been able to do anything past the foundational paper. Yes. You wouldn't even been able to do it. There's intermediate, higher, foundation. Bro, imagine that now. What your life's gonna be like now. And his brothers are sitting from me to me, bro, I'm bad at education. What do you mean you're bad at education, bro? What do you mean you're bad? What do you mean? Like, you've been learning as a kid. Like, education is something you do inherently. Like, that's the beautiful thing about human beings. Like, Allah Azza wa Jalla, like when he created Adam alayhi salam, how did he demonstrate the greatness of this creation? By showing his knowledge. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ. Allah Azza wa Jalla taught Adam the names of things. Does that make sense? And then he showed his knowledge and displayed his knowledge. So human beings learn. But you've been learning since a kid, bro. You learn all the time. Maybe your style of learning is different. Point being is that these labels are problematic. Does that make sense? So look, sadness, that comes from your sins. Let's be real. A lot of the times, you know, Sufyan ibn Uyayna rahimahullah ta'ala said, sometimes you feel sad when you didn't do a sin because you thought of a sin. And you wanted to do a sin. You chose to not do it, but the sin has such an effect that even when you think about it, it leaves a little something here. Does that make sense? Now, you can be sad because of something painful that happened in life. These are okay, but
just to add on to that, some of the scholars even mention that sometimes it will happen to you, not because you did a sin, but because there was acts of worship that you used to do and you left it off. And you're supposed to be reminded to go back to it again.
Subhanallah.
Somebody used to do a sunnah and now they left it off, but they're not doing any sins. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala a musibah will come your way, a trial will come your way to remind you, you need to go back to doing that again. You need to go back to that extra worship that you used to do.
Yeah, I mean, I actually remember I spoke to Abu Taymiyyah once. He said to me, bro, so for 3 days, I was in Medina and I felt depressed. As in the word, as in sad. We use this word, but what we mean is sad. Okay, not like clinically depressed. Yeah. And he was like, I was trying to think. He goes, I was asking myself, he said, Abu Taymiyyah, what sin did you do? Like, what evil sin did you do? And then he realized, it's been 3 days, I actually didn't open the Mus'haf and read Quran. So he literally sat down, he said, I went to my room, I opened the Mus'haf and I started reading, and I felt cool. Like, do you understand? So, well, just coming back to that ibadah, it will just do wonders. But so the one element of mental health is what sadness, depression, anxiety, that's one thing, right? But there's another thing, which is like just being weak-minded. So I'm saying, when you say the word mental health,
like anything that comes, you just crumble.
Do you understand? Like you're not.
That's where the issue of resilience comes in.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So there's many things. So we gotta unpackage it all, and I can't. I don't know.
No, but they're linked, as in people crumble because of the sadness, the anxiety, because
not necessarily. Maybe yes, connected. Like
failure. Oh no, I'm failure. I can't do it.
Yeah. So I guess maybe ultimately it does come back. Yeah. I guess everything will come back down to grief, anxiety, or distress. Yeah. You're right. So
when was the last time you cried?
I mean, I told you my crying is like teary-eyed kind of. 2 days ago, right? I was talking about one of our friends.
That made you cry?
Yeah, because I was upset that he's not doing what he needs to do in life, innit? So I'm not seeing.
That was cry out of love here, brother.
Yeah, I have concern for him. I wanted to mention a point. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiyallahu anhu. Now, if you want to talk about mental health, so you have to study the Prophets and the Sahaba. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, one of the things that my Shaykh told me that it just blew my mind, this perspective. He said, look at how he goes today, you know what we are? He said in Arabic. He said, we became a ummah. He said, al-an, he said, nahnu ummah, light touch, phone touch. The point was trying to make it like, you know, everything's touchscreen. He said if you tap your phone too hard, it breaks. You have to do it. It becomes so light, so soft that we just what? Break. And then he said, look at Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiyallahu anhu. As a young man, young teenager, the Prophet ﷺ looked at him and he said, not Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, Ammar ibn Yasir, sorry. He said, Ya Ammar. He said, the rebellious group is going to kill you. I can imagine as a teenager hearing that. And you have to live with that. I'm going to be killed by rebels. Well, how would you be? And by the way, the Prophet said when he says something, it's going to happen. He's got revelation from Allah. Do you understand? So imagine you're walking out every day like, you'd be paranoid. Is there anything from the biography of Ammar ibn Yasir? Like when the Prophet said that to him, is there anything that showed his distress, his anxiety, his paranoia? He just, well, I just got with life. Because he had aqidah. Likewise, huh?
Uthman and Umar,
right, likewise, Uthman.
They were martyrs on the hills of Uhud.
Yeah, the Prophet said to him, you're going to be martyred. He even said, you're the door. That when they break you, that when the door is broken, it won't be open again. And he knew that he was talking about.
Not only that, like if you consider that people say a lot of mental health comes from traumatic experiences. Did the Sahaba not go through some of the most traumatic experiences?
Yeah, of course.
Things like Sumayya radiallahu anha, like her son, Ammar ibn Yasir.
That's Ammar, yeah.
He saw his mum get killed in front of him.
And dad.
In a grotesque way, which I don't even want to mention in case YouTube takes the video down. You had people like Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah radiallahu anh, and he had to fight against his own father in the battlefield. Like these are things, surely if anyone was going to have depression or PTSD or all of these things, it would have been them.
Well, I think Ammar ibn Yasir is a great study because it wasn't just his mother, his dad. And people not many people were privy to how his dad was killed. One of the narrations I came across was that they tied his limbs to different horses and they told the horses to run in separate directions. Came across that narration?
I've heard it.
Yeah, come across separate narrations and rip his body. Do you understand? And then on top of that, he's been told you're going to be killed by the rebellious group. And well, he was a leader. He was, like, you know what I'm saying? Scholar, imam of the ummah, within the ummah. And yeah, man, this comes from Quran.
Can I just mention one more thing, right? Which is like with all these examples, truly, you know, I've taught the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ a couple of times over the past couple of years, and I always go back to the same thing again, which is that the Prophet ﷺ is truly the best example when it comes to hardship, going through musibah, going through traumatic experiences throughout his entire life, from the beginning to the very end. And a lot of people would say that, oh, because he's the Prophet of Allah. No, it's not just that he's the Prophet of Allah, but there was something very specific that he used to do to get over all of these problems. We're talking about a man that was, you know, his father died before he was even born. His mother died when I think he was at the age of 6, right? He's moved from household to household, you know. His chest was cut open as a child, right? He had to go through that experience. Being loved by his entire nation, and by the time he reaches the age of 40, everybody hates him. Everybody hates him, boycotted, murder attempts that happened numerous occasions throughout the period of Mecca. He buried every single one of his children in his lifetime, except for Fatima radiallahu ta'ala, right? Which I'm sure the thought of losing a child it's obviously something. Sorry, there's one thing the Prophet used to do, and that's the salah. The Prophet was very consistent with salah. the hadith of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala, she asked the Prophet, she saw the Prophet praying Qiyam al-Layl so long to the point his feet became swollen. She asked him, Ya Rasulullah, why do you pray for such a long periods of time to the point that it's harming your body? And then she said specifically, she said, you're doing this and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven your previous and your future sins, meaning that you're going to Jannah. You don't need to do this. You don't need to do that. But the Prophet said that if that's the case, أَفَلَا أَكُونَ عَبْدًا شُكُورًا, should I not be a grateful slave? And all these other narrations about the salah, and it all goes down to worshipping Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. And anybody that goes through problems and issues, it's the worship. Connecting your qalb to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala is what helps you in that process. Sorry.
Barakallah. Anyone want to add any final comments? Adam?
Huh?
Any final comments?
No.
Any advices? Anything that's helped you?
I like what he mentioned, salah.
Any final remarks before we conclude?
I would just mention the ayah where Allah Azza wa Jalla said in the Quran, أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِكَافٍ عَبْدًا. Is Allah not enough to suffice His slaves? And one of the things we benefit from Shaykh Diya Allah, our Shaykh, he mentioned that these ayat in the Quran where Allah Azza wa Jalla mentions a description and something that happens as a result of that description, because the more you increase in that particular description, the more you will get that result. Like Allah said, أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِكَافٍ عَبْدًا. Is Allah not enough? Is Allah not sufficient to suffice His slave? Like, as in, if you have Allah, do you need anything else? As in, He will take care of all of your matters for you. Like, He will actually take care. If you increase in that description of being a slave, so if you increase in ubudiyah, you increase in being a slave. Increase in being a slave. Then you will find Allah Azza wa Jal sufficing you in more. And every time you feel like you're in need, become the better slave.
How are we doing for time, Marwan? 5 minutes?
Sometimes it's best just to end it there, man.
Khair, inshallah.
You got something to say?
No, it's calm, I'll leave it.
No. If you actually had something to say.
No, it's calm, it's calm.
Oh no, you have to be.
No.
You might as well.
Overtime anyway.
No, it's 5
It's 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's best for maybe another time.
No.
Inshallah.
Must mention it now.
Please.
No, I was just going to mention, because we went around and discussed the last time everyone cried, right?
Yeah.
My source, it wasn't too long ago, I think a couple of weeks ago. It was actually off the back of, the episode we did on the why. And it's funny, like that actual episode, just you set us a task to do right before the episode, which was think about 6 key moments in your life that made you who you are and whatnot. And I remember I started that straight away. I didn't like it. I didn't want to do it. That's why I actually changed it to, if you know your why, you don't have to mention 6 things. Only if you don't know your why, you have to mention 6 things. I was like, I know my why, right? I can't remember what it was. Just during the episode, you were saying something about an experience that made you, I think you were talking about when you were 10 years old, you gave it a reminder or whatever, I don't know. And then from there, I'm not sure if it picked up on camera or whatever, but like, sometimes you can feel it coming, but you're just holding it back. I remember I dropped you off home, and as I drove back, I don't know, it's weird. It was just like, not wailing, no, it was just literally just tears streaming down. But it's just, I don't know, and I feel like there's certain things, the past being a big one of those, that will just, I don't know how to navigate. I'm generally speaking, like anyone that knows me knows I'm not a very emotional person. I'm not a very sentimental person at all. I can go weeks, months even without even messaging my own parents, my own siblings, my own wife, like I said. I feel like there's something there though. Sometimes, you know, it comes out occasionally here and there, but is that mental health? Allah alam, I don't know.
What was the story? What was the memory?
We ain't got enough time for that. Ain't got enough time for that. Save that for another.
Now, if time runs off, you can lock off the mic and just start preparing for the next set. But I'm asking you as a friend.
You can have that discussion, inshallah. Have that discussion. Yeah. I just saw my mum go through a lot of sadness growing up. See, like my parents got divorced when I was younger, and it's not easy for, especially like in a South Asian culture and whatnot. And I feel like that's where my why comes from as well. Because I just wanted to make, I saw my mum unhappy a lot. So I just wanted to make her happy, you know, I wanted to make sure she was always happy. That kind of just became like a life goal of mine. Just to make people happy. Yeah, we'll leave it there, inshallah.
Can I just mention something?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a general benefit, and I feel like, inshallah, that hopefully will be of benefit to a lot of people. One of the reasons that a lot of people, they go through problems in life, they go through sad experiences and etc. A lot of it comes down to the way that you're raised, right? So sometimes mum's there, dad's there, sometimes mum's there, dad's not there, sometimes dad's there, mum's not there, sometimes no one's there. Sometimes everyone's there, but it feels like no one's there at the very same time. And that can obviously make someone feel like, you know, they're alone, can't get through problems, they can't do much in life, and it takes them through a cycle of thoughts and problems. But I always remember a line of poetry that was mentioned regarding the Prophet ﷺ, because the Prophet ﷺ didn't have a mother and a father when he was born, right? I mean, by the time he turned the age of 6. So, but the poet, he said, ليس اليتيم الذي قد ماتت والده إن اليتيم يتيم العلم والأدب. He said that the yatim, which is obviously an orphan, someone that doesn't have a mum, doesn't have a dad, you know, obviously in the Sharia, someone that doesn't have a dad, but also if you don't have a mum either. But he said, ليس اليتيم, the yatim is not the one الذي قد ماتت والده. It's not the one who doesn't have whose father's passed away and he's died and there's no father involved, there's no mother involved. It's not that. ولكن اليتيم الذي يتيم العلم والأدب. It's the one that doesn't have any knowledge and doesn't have any manners. And I guess that's really what it comes down to. And if a person just spends their life learning, progressing, developing, and then implementing that knowledge, you'll produce the best version of yourself, enough for you to get through these problems and these issues and etc. I just wanted to put that out there.
I think we'll end it there, inshallah. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below. It helps with the algorithm. And we'll see you on the next episode of Chai with my Bhai. You know, we went from just water to 1 coffee. Perhaps next week there'll be 2 coffees, and who knows, we might even have some chai. See you in the next episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.